Hello, survivor. So I'm here on YouTube, and I'm actually doing a recording for my page on TikTok. So if you ever want to join me over there and watch my playlists and everything, I have a ton of free content, free information over there about this topic here and beyond. What happens when you choose to change, why you feel stuck, why you feel down, all the feelings that come up, all the thoughts and the self-sabotage that come up. We're going to talk about grief. We're going to talk about a ton of stuff over here. You can leave comments here on YouTube if you're live on YouTube. I will respond to them if you're watching the replay, and we're going to dive in. So there's a couple people here on TikTok that don't know me yet as we go into this. So I'm going to introduce myself, and that's for you guys too if you're finding me for the first time here on YouTube. On YouTube, you can watch my stuff here. You can also watch my other channel, Your Own University, and learn more about me. But the bolts and nuts of it is my name is Dr. Lisha Antiqua. I'm a transpersonal therapist, which means that I've studied not only the workings of the mind, but the workings of consciousness and the body and how it all fits together. My main focus in my study has been trauma and trauma related, childhood trauma specifically, and even more specifically, healing from the effects of childhood sexual abuse. I work with people that have gone through abuse or not, people that have had really bad relationships, and I love ending the cycle of abuse. Okay, so we're going to talk about this ending the cycle of abuse and how you can do it. And I'm going to let you give me comments. And this is really going to be interactive, you guys. So if I say something, I'm going to really do my best to watch the comments and answer you. But if I go on a tangent of teaching and I missed your comment, please feel free to put it back in there again or again or again, right, until I get to you and I answer your comments and questions. All right, because this is a really, really big deal, and it happens all of the time. It happens when people make this change. It's easier to invest in a car. It's easier to invest in an education. It's easier to invest when you're super, super sick and you're at rock bottom. You have to go to the hospital, right? You have to go in something. It's easier to invest when your relationship is falling apart, when you're falling apart. And when you've lived in this for such a long time, it is truly challenging to shift. And I'm going to share with you today the reasons why it's challenging to shift, how you can shift anyway, and the power that you have in it, especially around trauma and where trauma lives. All right. So how can I communicate with someone who's has an avoidant attachment child from childhood trauma? Patience with them. Yeah, it's more understanding that they're avoidant and asking yourself, can I, right? Can I have this peace with them? Can I give them that peace? Can I give them that reassurance? People with avoidant attachment don't want to talk about it, right? Don't want to talk about it because they're scared of judgment and they've been judging themselves. So what I'm going to talk about self-judgment in this, it might be a real breakthrough for you both, and you can share that with them. Not only did I lose my whole family to cancer, you live with the narcissist. Yeah. So you have that brain scramble. You can't really think clearly. You're questioning who you are, right? And you're scared to leave probably. Yeah. Instead of protecting myself, I went through all that for others. That is normal. Actually, I just had a big breakthrough call with one of my clients today about how noble and wonderful that is. But when we're stuck in trauma and the trauma life has become our normal, whether it's through marriage and a narcissistic or abusive or psychopathic relationship or antisocial relationship, or if it's childhood, right? And you never, ever, ever knew any more. These are patterns and habits that we get to create. You're the only person that you judge. I give everyone else grace, but can't find it for myself. Yeah. Yeah. So it's about turning it around. At least you know you can give grace. Yeah. Mary, I wish that you could stick around. It was wonderful to meet you. How to navigate abuse during divorce processes. Um, you got it out but can't finalize. That's hard. I would work the energy around it. It sounds kind of woo-woo, but both parties have electromagnetic fields. So doing a lot of release work at that point where you're not interacting with the narcissist, where you're not sabotaging that. And really what I'm going to talk about today of being okay, letting go is going to be really, really important. All right. Are we ready to dive in, guys? If you could just keep tapping that screen so people know that I'm on. You are. Debster, you are. If you're living with a narcissist, you are. Yeah. So part of that is unless that person chooses to change themselves, and narcissists can change, we can become self-aware, whether we're a codependent or a narcissist, whether we're abused as a child or not, we can become so aware. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to dive into the content, and then you can ask away. So, what happens when you say, okay, enough is enough? Enough is enough. I'm absolutely done. I'm ready for a change. Is whatever was normal is going to come around. So, the world works in these spheres. Okay. It's like a sphere, it's a spiral sphere, and it goes up and it comes down. And it's not forward and backwards, you guys, it's circular. Okay, it goes up and goes down. So you don't ever really take a step backward. You just circle it from different perspectives. Does that make sense? So as you're circling it as your own perspective, you're going to hit it from different angles. So whatever you experienced growing up, say that your parents were narcissistic or abusive or didn't give you choice, say that they made all of your choices for you, or that they were demanding or commanding. They had this control issue. Okay, we can, whatever it was a control issue. And maybe they controlled you by neglecting you. Maybe they controlled you by making you do all the chores. Maybe they controlled you by abuse or threats. Maybe they controlled you by being self-absorbed. Okay. But what you weren't given is compassion. What you weren't given is choice. What you weren't given is validation. What you weren't given is the opportunity to be a human, right? Yeah. So you weren't given the ability, the opportunity to be your own person. I call this object identity disorder. Okay. It's disordered because you become the object of everybody else's. This is a wide opening for other narcissistic relationships, other controlling relationships, lack mentality. The world's going to save you. The money's going to save you. The perfect body's going to save you. The next diet, the next fad, the next friend is going to save you. Right. So we're always looking outside of who we are and what we are instead of looking inside. And when we start to look inside, it's really fucking hard because what we're looking at is all of these ways that these people have used to manipulate us or to make us believe that we were less than, that we were their objects, that we were subject, that we had to earn love, we had to earn respect, we had to earn money. So we get in that proving energy that you guys were talking about, right? So I'm seeing a lot of comments of yes. Yes, you're the scapegoat. She was the psychopath. Yep. Father controlled us. Kids abused you. Yep. Mm-hmm. Now my mom, brother, and dad are gone. So you feel lost. Yeah. Because now you've been in this relationship for 32 years, right? And you're like, what the hell am I doing? Okay. So we're right on track here, you guys. Perfect. Okay. So the first thing that I always teach, and Cynthia said it just a second ago, but is choice. But here's the thing with choice, you guys. When you make choices, we get it wrong sometimes. And the most brilliant minds get things wrong. The Apple computer was made wrong at one point. Newton tried a bazillion times to make that light bulb, right? Agilent Technologies at AT&T, their motto is fail fast and fail often, or fail often and fail fast. And yet, as children, when we're raised in this controlling, low dense environment that breeds in the person being controlled false shame. It's not your shame. Your parents should have been ashamed. Your abuser, your husband, your wife, whoever's abusing you, should have been shamed. But they don't feel that shame. They blame it on you. So it comes back on you. One thing that's really important here is that we then take on that energy, that emotion, that energy and motion. It's their emotion, but we take on that shame. So the first thing is to recognize the shame and the guilt that's not yours. And literally visualize your energy field, just kind of give it back to them. And they can be dead. Okay? Just give it back to them. Because control lives within the framework of total failure, right? I can't do it. This belief system, if you knew that you could do it, if you knew that you could go in and get the job or set a boundary or stick up for yourself or do something, then you would know that you could do it. So how do they keep you under control? They tell you things like you'll never amount to anything. Has anybody ever heard that? I'll take you into this world and I'll take you out of this world. Anybody hear that? Right? Yeah. Yeah. I was told multiple times that I literally, would always need support. I'd always need somebody else. Right? So this is the brainwashing. I want you to know that everybody's brainwashed. Everybody's brainwashed, and we're brainwashed with the beliefs that our parents told us, like, I'm so flawed, I'm lost. Right? I'm so fucked up. I'm so dirty. As if the abuser, everything's your fault, right? Everything, although you did not do anything. So if like that, all that energy, that's their energy. And we call them soul ties or cords, depending on what language you're speaking. Soul ties or cords, right? He blames his job loss on me. Exactly. As if you went to work for him and had his attitude and did the work, right? Like, how could that possibly be your fault? It like isn't, but they'll fabricate things. And with narcissism, especially, or gaslighting, you don't have to be a narcissist to gaslight. You don't have to be a narcissist to sabotage. You don't have to be a narcissist to ruin things, right? We all have those tendencies. But if you have this energy on you of you need to be controlled, what do we learn? We learn that it is up to the outside world to control us. Right? So what we learn is it's up to the outside world to control us. That makes us a good girl, a good boy. And then they gaslight us because they put us in charge of them. Right? As if, we made them do whatever they did. As if we made their choices. This is the cycle of abuse. It cycles up and it cycles down. And for survivors of trauma, we get stuck in this cycle. And when you decide to finally change the cycle, first, the thing that you must do, and I say must in the most loving way, is choose and really discern what's you and what's them. Right? Is it really worth throwing a huge fit because that you didn't wash a pan right? You didn't vacuum in a straight line? These are some of my things, right? They ate the ice cream and blamed you. They turn a conversation around on you and then blame you for it. And you can see this because in the relationship, you'll see it as well. But when you get out of the relationship, notice who's doing all the blaming. Who's going, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'll do that better. Oh, you feel that way? Oh, I didn't mean to make you feel that way. I didn't mean to make you lose your job. I'm so sorry. Right? Who's doing that? And who's doing, you did this and you did that. And I drank because you made me drink. And I lived in hell because you made me do that. And right? Saying like, you maybe, like, for instance, I had one fit. I did have a fit. I had one fit. Another person had multiple fits, like every other week fits, big fits, angry fits. And yet my one fit is what's being blamed for everything. So then you look at that situation and you go, is that mine or theirs? It would be theirs. Yeah, he gaslights you. You're defending yourself. And then he videotapes you. Then he can say, look, she's crazy. Look, she's fucked up. Right? So here's what you guys do. And it's super, super hard. First, you start breathing, inhaling, holding your breath on top, and exhaling as they're screaming at you. I used to do this. My narc would scream at me, you're a fucking slut. I fucking hate you. It's your fault I cheated on you. If you would only spell better, if you were only prettier, if you were only thinner. I was 12% body fat. If you were only this, if you were only that, then I wouldn't feel this way, right? If you only drew back, I mean, it didn't matter what I did. It was like the next thing I had to qualify for, right? Yeah, one fit, yet everything is your fault. Yeah, you can relate. No, my fit was actually about a whole bunch of people that are known to cheat and do things that I see as not good. That they all get chosen. They're all getting married. It was jealousy on my part. I totally, like, that was all me. All me. It had nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with anything. I was triggered. It was me. Totally me. And I've owned it since day one. That's the whole thing too. I owned it since day one. No blame. You work out every single day and he still calls you fat. Yeah. This is this control. So those comments, those things, you guys, when we're raised around it or we've been married to it for a long period of time, what we do is it becomes our normal. So to shift your normal, you got to do some things differently. So I'm going to teach you this thing to do right now. You don't need to tell us you're 12% body fat. Well, no, it just makes a point. Like, I was not even close to fat at that point. I was in 2009, but it was a while ago. Okay. So that said, you're going to inhale. They're going to be yelling at you, right? They're going to be doing their thing. They're going to be gaslighting you. Instead of defending yourself, because one, can we all agree that we cannot do anything to the gaslighting? We're not going to convince them that it was them. We're not going to convince them that they're having the issue. We're not going to convince them of even what they said. You can quote them. I've done this to my previous experience. I literally, like, from a conscious, like, centered state of mind and knowing that I'm excellent at repeating people and asking people what they do. That's what I do for a living. I would say, this is what you just said. Is that what you meant? And they would turn it around and gaslit me and it'd be another topic, right? Until my previously gaslit brain was like, what? So inhale. Let me get to it. You're going to inhale, hold your breath on top, and exhale. Nice and slow. So tap that screen again, you guys. I know you're listening and typing, but tap that screen again. Inhale. With me as you tap the screen, hold the breath on top, and exhale. Nice. Inhale. Hold your breath on top and exhale. So this calms your nervous system so you get your brain back on track. Okay. It stops them from being able to gaslight you. Inhale. Hold your breath on top and exhale. Nice. The next thing that you do is you bring yourself back to a centered thought. So it can be, I am back. I am back, and feeling your toes. I am back. I am back, and feeling your toes. And if you're in my programs or you've joined me for SSS in the morning, you know we use dissolve, resolve, transform, transmute, and transcend. It's a phrase that the angels and guides gave me back in 2010 during a heart healing session that has changed my life. And it's been affirmed. Many other people that same year it was wild. They got very similar phrases. So if you have a phrase from somebody else, this is not new. I think the whole galactic team came down and like just downloaded it into us. So it's dissolve, resolve, transform, transmute, and transcend. So you're going to inhale, dissolve, resolve, transform, transmute, and transcend, and exhale. That's what you're going to do for your brain. And that's what you're going to do with your body, with your breath. Okay. The next thing is for your emotional body. So when you're gaslit, since we're talking about, let's just go into, we're going to roll with the flow of what needs to come up today. We get this rush of energy. It could be anxiety. You could call it depression. You could call it proving. You could call it, I'm a bad person. When you're dealing with a narcissist or an abuser, it's a little bit different. When you are the narcissist or the abuser, meaning that your own negative thinking, your own negative voice, your own negativity is there, it's a little bit different too. So I'm going to talk about both. Okay. So the first one is to feel the feelings. Let the sensations come up. Those sensations that come up are going to feel like you're going to either want to fight them back, prove, I didn't do that. I didn't do it. I washed the dishes as best as I could. I did this. 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 Right? Yeah, because we're re-traumatized. So we have to reprogram the traumatized mind so then you can get what you want. But first, it's about reprogramming it. So you're there. You're doing your breath. Your brain is on one thought. And you might notice you have the sensation coming up in your body. I'm scared of them. Or they're judging me, or they're not going to like me, or I'm just horrible. I wish I could fix this situation. And you go to either run away from it or fight it, prove yourself, or people please, fawning, fight, flight, or freeze, or fawn, right? And so what happens when you're in that state of being is we react. And we call that PTSD or CPTSD or reactive abuse. And that's what they film. They film the reactive abuse. They film the flip out. And then they can say, see, you did it. You did it. You did it. But you don't sabotage yourself, hun. That's not you sabotaging yourself. That is your basic survival. This is really important to understand. When we get to that point, there is no turning back. Our body is in fight, flight, or freeze. We are shaking. We can't breathe. We are crying. We just want it to go away. And especially if you're trapped in a marriage or a relationship or a situationship that you can't get out of, it's really, really challenging. And you're scared to get out of, it's really, really challenging. And there's nothing to do to like fix it in the situation. All you can learn how to do is cope with it, right? And stop him from being able to film you by using these tools. And it's going to take some practice. He might get to film you a couple more times. Okay, love? He might get to film you a couple more times. And then all of a sudden, he won't have anything to film. He's filming because she's having a reactive fit. She's defending herself. She's crying. She's trying to make him believe that she didn't mean to do it, that she's lovely, that she has his best interest in heart, because she does. Right? She would do anything to make sure that her husband was happy and okay, but he's sick. He's the one with the illness, and she's the one that gets to perpetuate it. Right? We're all sick, actually. I have to get chapstick, guys. Okay. Step 1, inhale. Hold your breath on top. Exhale. Step 2, focus your mind on one thought. Back, I'm back, or back to dirt. Dirt stands for dissolve, resolve, transform, transmute, and transcend. Back to dirt. And I always call on the angels. You can do this all together. I call on the angels. I call on God. I pray to Jesus. I'm like, help me. Help me do this. Okay. And then you keep your mouth shut. You don't react. You don't prove. So what's the worst thing that's going to happen, Debstar? What's the worst thing that's going to happen here, you guys? Right? They're accusing you of something. You're being gaslit. What are you scared of? That he's going to blame you? That he's going to think that you're crazy? That he's not going to love you anymore? Yeah, your anxiety has become your normal. You're stuck in fight, flight, or freeze. You're creating autoimmune disease in your body. Your body's fighting itself. Your mind is fighting itself. Your emotions are fighting itself. Yeah, all those things. So what are the judgments that you're so scared of? Yeah. And then we get a divorce and then they blame your kids. Just keep your mouth shut. I did it for 5 years. And then finally my kids were like, oh my God, I totally see him. I educated them on what narcissists are, what abuse is, what gaslighting is, what flipping the switch is, right? How it looks, that entrapment. And words can cut a lot more than a knife, you guys. I've been cut by both. Right? So the next thing is when you're not around, when you're not in that state, figure out like, what are you scared of? Are you scared of being called a bad wife? I was. I would do anything to be a good wife. Do anything to be godly. Anything. Right? And so I did. I acted that way. And then I would be told that I wasn't. And what that did for me is it made me defensive because I wanted to prove that I was. I wanted to make them happy. I wanted to please my mommy. I wanted to earn the love of my daddy. I wanted to earn the attention of them. I wanted to be worthy. Right? You're scared of quitting. Why? Because then he might do something worse. Right? If you don't give him what he wants, then you might do something worse. Okay, so back to the practice. You're inhaling, hold, exhaling, hold. Inhaling, hold, exhaling, hold. Then you're fixing your mind on one thing. You'll know if you do prove, 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 or you do, well, I just started, Stace. If you do proving, if you do running away from it, just wanting to leave, avoid, escape, or if you want to fawn and people please. I'll do better next time, honey. I'll do better. I'll do better. I'll do better. Just be nice. I'll turn off TikTok. I'll turn off everything. I'll never put on panties again. I'll only wear panties with a butt. Like whatever it is, it can be that silly. Okay? It can be that silly. Right? I'll let you move out. I'll take less. I'll take less, right? Oh, you can be in a bad mood. I know I'm not allowed to, but you can be in a bad mood. You can throw fits. I'll forgive you again. I'll forgive you again, right? And we become this like overly compassionate thing. We kiss ass, right? All the while betraying who? We're betraying ourselves. I didn't put makeup on. I put chapstick on. It's just like a really cheap kind of chapstick. It's a Bubblicious. And so it's thick. Anyway. So, yeah. So, but that's keeping you alive. Here's the kicker, you guys. Why we sabotage ourselves, why we don't want to know change is because exactly what you guys are saying right now. We want to stay safe, right? And we know that by fighting back, we won't get hurt worse. By people pleasing, proving, we won't get hurt worse. And by running away or avoiding, stuffing our faces or not eating, however it shows up for you, right? Over shopping, overspending, addiction, we won't get hurt. Now, those are really shitty things to be walking around going, oh my gosh, they're not going to hurt me, right? So we get stuck in this cycle of abuse because we're ashamed. So we're controlled by the shame, the guilt, the blame, the embarrassment. Those are very controlling, demeaning behaviors. Okay. And then we play it safe. We don't want to rock the boat. The thing is that's sometimes really good in a situation where you might be hurt. But immediately after that situation, why don't we leave? We don't leave because we're stuck in that trauma response. And when we say, I want help out, what happens to our body when we lean into positive stuff is the universe kind of tests us. Do you really want out? Where are you going to get a job? Right? What are you going to do this? It took you 8 years. Yeah, it took me 5 years. Yeah. This last edition, I didn't even play along. I was quite impressed with myself. I was like, I see straight through this bullshit. And I was like, you want to go again and again and again. I stated, yeah, I care about you, right? Oh, it's not nice of me. I don't want to be the abuser. But then finally I was like, fuck yeah. Let me be the villain in this story. I will proudly be the villain in this story because I do not want to deal with this, right? Yeah, who cares? 32 years doesn't matter. It just means that you're more used to the abuse. It's more your normal. So in order to get out, you got to build on that. You got to collect your ducats. You got to choose to leave. You got to go and do something. There's plenty of people that live on their own. Right? There's plenty of people that don't do that every day. There's plenty of people that would rather be liked by themselves or learn how to be liked by themselves than hated by somebody else the rest of their lives. But if you're living for others, there's no way you can like yourself. Yep. You are not the only one. 25 years right there. All right. So notice your fight, flight, or freeze pattern. This is just a part of self-awareness. What do you naturally do? And then don't do it. Don't let yourself react. Allow that feeling to come up. Notice that feeling. Notice the sensation. And just let yourself go through it. You have felt it 100 times. You have felt that anxiety. You have felt that sadness. If you are fighting it, then release. Nice. You're camping. Congratulations. Yeah. Yeah, but that's a story in your head, Sarah. So difficult is a story in her head. It's so hard to change. That's how they keep us stuck under that control. It's not hard to change, and it can happen like that the moment that you're okay with how you're actually feeling. I'm going to say that again. It can shift like that the moment that you're okay with what you're actually feeling. So say that your abuser tells you that you're dumb. I got that one a lot. Dumb, dumb, dumb. You're just stupid. I wasn't a doctor, and I've proven it worked out for me. I've proven that I'm smart, but most of my abusers have called me stupid, called me dumb. Okay. Dumb and fat were like the big ones. They came from my mom and my dad. And so we're like, but here's the thing. You're terrified of being dumb. You're terrified of that. So what do? You either do nothing at all, you freeze, fight, flight, or freeze, you freeze. All right. And you live for them. You just give yourself up completely. You fight and you're like, I'm not dumb. And you go to school and you do everything that you need to do, or you run. That makes sense? Yeah, but that's a story that you're telling yourself. That's not even a feeling. That's a state of being. A state of being is a brain, a decision you made that said, I'm flawed and broken, or I'm dumb, or I'm dirty, or I can't do this because I've been married so long. That's a state of being. That's a fixed state of being. And you fix that state of being to make sense of this sensation that's telling you, get the fuck out. Something's not right. Many of my clients feel like they're dirty because they were sexually molested as children. Yeah. So it's just a common thing that many of us feel like. Yeah. So honor that scaredness. Honor it. Take it with you. Be scared. Be sad. Be flawed. Have a fucking pattern. Own it. We got to own it all. Own it. Wow, he's gaslighting me. Okay. He's telling me that I'm dumb. I'll never amount to anything. Huh. Okay. Am I scared of that? Yeah. If I stay here, is he right? Yeah. If I freak out, will he not hit me? Will he not punch me? Will he not kill me? Right? What are you really scared of? Of course you're abused as a child. That's why you can be abused now. Me too, hun. Me too. That was our normal. It's not healthy. Healthy is not always normal. And we can't fix normal. All we can do is accept what our normal is and choose to change it or choose to stay in it. And once we're powerfully choosing, then it is what it is. It doesn't matter if it was your family or your soccer coach or a babysitter or the priest or some random dude down the street or a woman who you saw in a park. It doesn't matter if it happened once or 100 times. Yeah, yours was multiple and it was family. Yeah. It does help, right? But first, to get to that anger, you had to accept that anger, which was brave of you. You had to claim that anger as that's my anger, it's my sadness, it's my shame, or it's not my shame, it's their shame. And when it's not your shame and it's their shame, what you're going to get is anger. But then society says, don't be angry. Be a good little girl, especially if you're over 40. Be a good little girl, be a good little boy, right? So, what was your normal? I'm about to tell you what happens when you decide to change. Because you have never done that. What your normal is, it has gotten you to this far, right? You know that if you throw a fit, here's the thing. My abuser, doesn't matter who it was, they would be accusing me of something and blaming me of something. And I would want to defend myself, or I would feel trapped, or I would just know I was about to get in like the biggest trouble. I was always scared to get in trouble. I literally would drive to my now house and I'd be like, and I started feeling that in my last relationship. And I was like, I don't like this feeling. And then I dismissed it, which was my own fault. I dismissed it. I was like, oh, it's just old feelings. It's not old feelings if you feel it again. I'm learning that. Okay. It is your response. So this is going to be your superpower after you get it, you guys. All right. So this can also be a superpower. Okay. So you've done your breath. They could be yelling at you, or you're just feeling the anxiety. You're driving home. You're feeling the judgments coming up. You're feeling the feelings. It's so many feelings, right? You're going to inhale, hold your breath, exhale. Inhale, hold your breath. Exhale. In your head, you're going to say, I'm back. Or I'm back, go to dirt. Or dissolve, resolve, transform, transmute, and transcend. Whatever that is for you. Okay, whatever your phrase is. But I want you to pick one phrase that you start practicing so you can remember it. This is going to help you not even listen to them. But know your triggers. The next thing you're going to do is know your triggers and your reactions. Okay, that's step 4. And you can contemplate this before. Like, what are my triggers? Oh, he calls me dumb. That's one that really gets me, right? You call me dumb, right? You tell me that I didn't add anything to your life when I've been pouring everything out and I've opened up my entire self and my home and like everything, blah, 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 right? Like, right? You tell me that it's pointless. Right? So did you do something to be ashamed about? So if you threw a fit, right? If they gaslit you into a fit, it's on them. because that's a reactivity. We talked about that. But if you are, so the question, you guys on YouTube, the question was, if I feel dumb, but how do you know if the shame and anger or whatever is yours or theirs? Do you have something to be angry about? Or did you? It could be past tense. You could be timeline jumping here, right? So we go and we bring up the past and we're circling around that, right? You feel crazy for being triggered. That's your state of being. It's no problem to be triggered. Everybody gets triggered. He calls you fat and a loser. Yeah, to keep you under his wraps, right? Right? To keep you down. Yeah, you know you work out once a day. That's more than some. It's pretty good. And you're not a loser unless you choose to be. Like, what are you losing? You want to be a loser? Say, yeah, I'm a fucking loser. I lose you. I'm going to lose your ass. Hey, don't say that. Just leave. With a narcissist, you guys, my highest recommendation is just leave, unless there's a way to get them to leave. But if you stop fighting back and they're not going to put you in harm's way where you have to leave, they will leave you. They will go and they will cheat and they will leave you because you're no longer their supply, because you no longer react. So they no longer can film you, right? My ex filmed me. He has plenty of tapes of me. It's pretty funny when I think about it when people say that. I'm like, oh my gosh, we used to do that. Interesting. So like it doesn't matter what they have on you. It doesn't matter what they have on you. Like, are you scared of that? They already have it. Same. Yeah. Right? Already have it. You're scared of being crazy. Well, as soon as you get that reactivity PTSD, there you go. They get their crazy. So why are you scared of it? How long have you been doing crazy? I'm an excellent at crazy. So they film to prove that you're the crazy one and not them, that they have a reason to control you. So they have something over your head. So you're trapped. So you can't leave. So you can stay their supply. So you'll keep proving, keep fighting. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we're breathing. We have our mind on that. We know our trigger and we've accepted it. So you say, I'm dumb. Awesome. I'm dumb. Great. I've been fighting being dumb forever. What would be the worst thing that happens if I'm dumb? Well, my spouse, my love, my friends, everybody would know I was dumb. Then what? Well, they already think that. What are you losing? He'd know that I'm crazy. He'd know I was crazy. Okay. Well, doesn't he already call you crazy? Right? Like, like, he knows I'm not clean. Okay. I'll never be clean enough, not for my own standards or their standards because of my PTSD. Right? And I keep attracting people that are like, are you cleaning for me? No, I'm not cleaning for you. Right? You'd continue to be stuck. And what do you get from being stuck? You get to continue to beat yourself up. And if you're beating yourself up, then there'll be less. So I was telling you the story about what I used to do. So I would feel trapped. I feel like I couldn't get out. And I found out when I was about 11, after a really bad thing happened. My dad didn't beat me for a couple months. And he felt bad for me. And then he would just tell me to smack myself so he didn't have to smack me, but it would sound like it, right? It didn't sound like the belt, but it would still sound like it. So my mom would know I was being beat because he convinced me that my mother wanted to make sure that I was being beat. And my mom did like to beat me, in all honesty. So there was that. I don't know if it was true or not at that point in her life. She's grown a lot. But so I would smack myself. And it would get him not to beat me. It would get me out of being in trouble. It would also make me look crazy. I found out that if I did this in other situations where I was feeling gaslit, confused, scared, if I did that, then they'd stop. I wouldn't get touched. I wouldn't get groped. I wouldn't get whatever it was that I was trying to avoid. I'd get out of the situation. The fighting would stop. Look, you're fucking crazy. And they'd storm away, right? And I'd win. So I used that. It was nuts until 2014. And then I was dating a guy and I did it and he grabbed my hands. We broke up that day, but he grabbed my hands and he said, "What are you doing? I love you." And I was like, "I just want my fucking coffee and to go down and sit by the pool. We're on vacation." And I was like, "I'm fucking done. I'm done. I'm done." Right? He's like, "Fine." And he was black or white thinking, probably a narcissist too, and just go away. Yeah. So we're trying to control our feelings, you guys. If you're trying to control your feelings, you're going to be controlled by your feelings. I'm going to say that again. If you're trying to control your feelings, you're going to be controlled by your feelings. You have to let your feelings be. Your feelings are just feelings. Understand that of your feelings, you make things up in your head of what they mean. You can make them mean good things or bad things. But I'm sure that you've changed a lot, Debs. Have you changed over the last 32 years? Have you changed your ways for him? Have you washed the dishes differently? Have you raised the kids according to how he wanted them raised? Have you had sex differently? Have you worn different clothes? Have you changed? How did it work out? How long have you been trying to be better so he can treat you nice and finally see your value? The only way that you can change and things will get better is to see your value and stop the reactivity. So, how do you stop the reactivity? You don't respond to your emotions. You let them scream and exhaust themselves with whatever fucking shittery that they're doing. And then you just stop. You don't react. Yeah, and even not even letting them release, they'll release on their own, right? You don't have to do anything to your feelings. They're moving. Perfect. You should resent him. Yeah, that sounds like a reasonable thing. Would you be okay if somebody resented you if you verbally assaulted them every day, called them names, right? Would you expect somebody to be around you the rest of your life if you called them names? They call it a smear campaign when they go out and they just like bad mouth you to everyone or online or make idle threats like, burning your house down. And we all have our things. Like I can like I'm pretty I'll get my point across. Right? And it's okay to talk about your story and your part in it, right? Who gives a shit what he says? Are are you in charge of his attitude? Because that's the control. Yeah, that's that control. Yeah. Okay, so you guys want to know what's next? How you actually shift and change? What happens when you're going to change? So I have about 12 more minutes on here. Now I want to get to it because this is really juicy. So we have the formula here. The next piece of change is that you stop doing what's been your normal. So if normal is hitting yourself or throwing a fit or people pleasing or running away or avoiding or kissing their ass, you stop doing it. It doesn't mean you do the opposite. You don't go for revenge. You don't do anything. You just do nothing. You sit with your emotions. You train your thoughts to focus on new things. And if you've never thought of anything that you wanted or good things or anything like that, it's almost impossible to do this. So the first thing is just thinking that one sentence and you focus on your breath and you don't do anything. I was in a situationship where person threw a fit Like, God, I was throwing a fit. I felt totally confused. Like I was disassociating. I was terrified. I was disassociating. Like the whole thing was happening. I was like, what just happened to that conversation? I literally just went, nope, I'm disassociating. I just looked down. I focused on myself. I focused on that. And I was just like, okay, okay, okay. And then the person like came back and apologized. Right. And I was like, okay, that energy shifted. Now, what I didn't ask is, do I want to do this 16 more times? Right? I should have dumped. I should have left. But I didn't. Right? And that's on me. That was my choice. And that's the shame and blame and guilt that go and anger, that we can go, oh, that pissed me off. I shouldn't have done it that way. Right? We can own that. Yep. So you might have to cut off our families. Sometimes families are so toxic that we have to cut them off completely. It's going to be the hardest thing to do is let the feelings be. Let your mind focus on one thing and let your body focus on your breath. So your body's doing something. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to do anything, right? You know your trigger that's going to throw you into that reactivity that they want so bad. And you know your pattern, right? What you do, that action. When the emotion comes up, what action do you take? Know yourself. It's the biggest gift that you can give yourself is know yourself and then do the opposite. Literally, instead of going right, go left. Do the opposite. Don't say anything. Go, yep, you're right. I'm fat. I'm ugly. I'm dumb. Yep. Oh, I mean, it might piss them off more. I get sarcastic. When I start getting gaslit now and I notice it, I'm just like, I get sarcastic. But I no longer believe that I'm dumb. I no longer believe that I'm fat, even though I'm chubbier than I've ever been. Right? I no longer believe that shit because I have gotten to know myself. And that took some courage because when we ask for that kind of shift, all the places that we have commitment to the struggle, commitment to the this is normal life of the abuse, the commitment to the proving, the commitment to the defending, the commitment to the fighting, the commitment to the avoiding, the commitment to the freezing and not going anywhere and being stuck, miserable for 32 years. We have to look at that commitment. And that's what keeps you from changing because you know you can survive that next fight. You know you can survive that next beating. You know you can survive being called dumb and stupid. You know you can survive whatever's coming your way because it came your way yesterday, whether it was a rape, whether it was anything. But if you're sick of it, if you don't want it to survive in it anymore, if you don't want to be victimized by it anymore, then the only thing that you can do is go, yeah, because it's normal. You know you can survive it. So your ego, the second that you're like, oh, I'm going to learn how to have feelings. I'm going to learn how to love myself. I'm going to learn how to leave this marriage. I'm going to learn how to make a change. I'm going to learn how to be quiet. I'm going to learn how to like myself. It immediately goes, oh, but remember, we're scared of being a loser. Remember, we're scared of being alone. Oh, remember, we can't make any money. Remember this agreement that you made because they told you all these things about you. Remember, you agree with them. And then you're going to be stuck telling yourself, well, I can't change. I can't open the program. I can't invest in a therapist. I can't go to that shelter. I can't tell anybody that I'm hurting, right? I can't ruin my PTA reputation. And then you stay stuck. You could, and I see it all the time. People invest. They go, oh, yes, this is what I want, Lisha. I want to work with you. I want this. This is exactly what I want. I've been praying for you. I totally want this, right? And I'm like, awesome. Here's how you can do it. They say, okay, I'm going to do it this way. This is what I'm going to invest. This is what I'm going to do. And I never hear from them again. And why is because that part of your brain, right? That part of their brain goes, no, I'm more committed to figuring this out on my own and letting it be however long it takes. Just keep plugging along because I know that this will keep me in the same cycle. And I don't really want to change. I just want to have hope of changing. Because if I really change, then I might lose this marriage. If I really change, then I might have to move. If I really change, then I might not be able to be friends with these people. If I really change, then I might release the weight. If I really change, then I might gain the weight. If I really change, then what will I do with all my time if I'm not healing constantly? And fear comes up, right? And your shit will come back at you, right? Like this Jason dude here, right? He made a joke and then he's like, discover. And he said, bad aura. Not quite sure what that was all to, but I read bad aura and I would go, oh my God, he thinks I'm evil. I'm a bad girl. I'm evil. Right? I'm a little triggered by it. And you guys have seen me like process through this in a different way, right? With my skin color, maybe. And I'm like, oh, I work my aura every day. I have people saying, I friggin' love you. Thank you for saving. I literally save lives every day. Right? So, but that's part of my positivity. Okay, perfect. So a bad aura is positivity. I don't know how that works for positivity, but thank you, Jason, for that thing. But right, that used to be a trigger for me because I'd want to prove. No. Listen how godly I am. Listen how good I am, right? I'd want to fight it away. But now I'm just going to say, cool, bad aura, it doesn't vibe with you, then you must have a really low aura. Late. Right? I does. I true save lives. That's hearsay? No. Well, I mean, I guess it is hearsay. But if you're on here and I've saved your life, give them an A. There's only 11 people on here though. So when people come into your space to trigger you, it's to show you a reflection of what's not yet healed in you. And that's all you can change. And that begins happening the moment that you say, I want to be healed. I want this to be gone. Okay, can you look at your bad news insights? Can you look at yourself? Right? Can you look at this old trigger and can you do something different? Not yet? Okay, great. Up again. It comes around again. Can you do it differently now? Not yet? Okay. It comes around again. Can you do it again now? Yeah. Okay, awesome. You go up that rung. Then you have a different perspective. Then maybe a decade goes by and then boom, it comes around again. Right? Can you do it again? No. Oh, right? So first, honor the grief and admit the narcissism. You can't change the narcissist. You only can change you. And oftentimes when his victim or her victim, men and women are narcissists, and we all have narcissist traits, even the codependent. We all have narcissist traits. If you've been raised by a narcissist, you have narcissist traits, okay? So it's not about that. It's just like noticing them and how do you choose to be different? How are you going to react differently as you're running up that cycle? Are you going to believe it again? You're dumb, you're fat, you're a loser. You're going to believe it? Or are you going to go, no, I'm not. I work out an hour a day. I'm in shape. Whatever. Right? You know? Are you going to go, a loser? Well, I might be a loser if I'm losing you. Are you going to think that in your head? Or you're going to be like, how can I not be a loser? How can I prove to him that I'm finally value of his love? I've spent 32 years proving to him, right? You're beautiful and loved. So, how are you going to affirm in yourself that you're beautiful and loved? If you've never been treated like you're beautiful and loved, it's going to be a new experience. It's going to be kind of scary, actually. You're going to go around that, and the first thing is going to be like, you're ugly. And you're going to be like, I'm ugly. Or you're going to go, fuck you. And you're going to go around it again. And you're going to do things beautifully. And then you'll notice, wow, I'm counting calories and spending all this time proving that I'm beautiful and working out constantly, and I'm friggin' miserable. Huh. Does that mean beauty to me? No. And then you might do something different. I quit working out for a number of years. And now I'm like, you know what? Actually, chiseled is fucking hot to me. As soon as I can lift those weights, I'm lifting them again. As soon as I can do my hit, I'm doing it again. Not for anybody, though. Not for anybody but for me. And from a place of absolute love for my body. Absolute love, because it's strong and my legs are strong and I've hiked many, many mountains. And at first, especially if you've been abused, you will have no idea. Misfit lots, that's totally normal, right? Yeah, I mean, my job was working out. I thought I loved working out, but I used it as a form of abuse for myself to fit in, to earn love. So I had to learn a new way. And I'm not saying that's going to be for you, Deb. I'm just saying, like, that's what I did. It was my own story. So I'm just going to wrap this up for us, everybody on YouTube. If you have any questions about working with me, go to or just lishaantiqua.com, lishaantiqua.com. You can visit me on TikTok to join the lives at Dr. Lisha Antiqua. And yeah, thank you. I work with people privately and in a group. My main courses are Amazing You. It's about finding your identity, falling in love with yourself, and knowing who you are, and breaking these cycles of abuse. And then the next one is called Reclaim Intimacy, where we heal. We bring in all of you, your new identity, your created identity, to intimate platform. And I work with couples as well as singles in that, and we heal your relationship with sex and sexuality. So I also train coaches and work with therapists in these methodologies to help you share this work with the world at your own university. And thank you so much for being here. So what we went over today is, one, you are going to cycle, right? You're going to cycle up and down. There's no high, like there's no high or low. There's no straight line. It's just like we're going in the circle and we're spiraling up. And every time that you pass a situation, you can have a different perspective. You're going to have a different perspective right now as you go up here. Okay. So honor that perspective. You have a meaning that you make to everything. Make peace with that meaning. Make peace with all of the judgments that you have about yourself and all the judgments you have about your story and your emotions, what you make your emotions mean. Your emotions, while up in your body, go ahead and let those emotions come up and start working with your energy, pressing the energy out and pulling the energy back in and working with your energy. Recognize that discernment. Is it theirs or is it mine? Is it their guilt or my guilt? Is it their shame or my shame? Am I the one that's making false promises, or am I the one that's fat, or is it them? Oftentimes abusers punish you with whatever they're actually doing, whatever they're feeling about themselves. Okay. Most people that don't want to heal can't look at their bad news insights. Get really good at looking at your bad news insights and owning them, not fighting them, not fixing them, but knowing them. And then what you do from there is you inhale, hold your breath, and exhale. With that feeling coming up, fix your mind on one thought. Dissolve, resolve, transform, transmute, and transcend, or back to dirt. Okay, as those emotions are coming up, just let it go. Okay? Start recognizing what's yours and what's theirs. It's just a practice. And then whatever your normal was, whatever your normal reactivity was, whatever your normal solution was that has kept you in this trauma bond, in this trauma cycle, this trauma pattern in your life that you learned, that you know that you can survive, instead of turning right and going with it, turn left, go the other way. If you've been staying forever, leave. If you've been fighting back forever, be quiet. If you've been quiet forever, state your boundary. Learn about boundaries. Figure out what you want. Okay? If you've been people pleasing, start pleasing yourself. And I hope that this really helps you break free. If you have resistance when you choose change because these patterns start coming up and things tend to get worse before they get better, you got to clean out the wound before you can bandage it up and it heals and scars over. Okay? So walk through that. Doesn't mean that you're bad. It means that bad shit happened to you or is happening to you. Honor it, see it, admit it, and decide what's learned and what's yours, and choose to do better. Choose to love you better, I should say. Have that grace, have that compassion that you have for other people, and turn it back in on yourself. And if you want help learning how to do this more in depth, walk with me. Take my hand and walk with me for this year in the Amazing You journey. The Amazing You group is open for enrollment right now. And if it's not open right now, there'll be a waiting list and you can be in the next group if you're watching this at a later date. Okay? I love you. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being a transmuter, a starseed, ending the cycle of abuse and believing that you're worth knowing. Yay. Okay.